Hi everybody and welcome to video 23 in our Steampunk Journey series. We're using two kits, Nautical Steampunk and Steampunk Trains from Victoria Designs. And as I've said all along, you can use whatever theme or kit or whatever you want. And you don't have to make all three books. You can just make one. But I would love it if you have been along for the whole ride. I've really had fun doing these. This is one of the biggest projects I've ever started, and it's been a blast. So right now we're done with the signature. We've got everything done. I've finished up the gears and things, and so now we're going to make the cover. Now, as you know, I ran out of cream colored paper, so I had a brainstorm or a brain freeze. Who knows? So what I thought was I'll print out one of the background pages that looks like paper, and then I'll use that. So I printed out 3 just in case, but we only need 2. For the outside anyway. So we're going to flip them over. I forgot I printed on the back. Oh, we're going to glue them together. I'm sorry. We're going to glue them together. I feel so silly. Portrait-wise. We're going to glue them together portrait-wise. And try to just overlap a little bit. I don't know if that's enough glue up there. And just overlap them enough to cover the glue. Make sure they're even and straight. Flip it over and make sure, oops, I do have a little bit of glue seepage on this side. Make sure it's not seeping out on the other side. I just moved it a little bit and made it crooked. Okay. So now we're going to, let me get my T-square. We're going to draw a line 1 inch up. And then our book is 9, and then another inch will be left. Okay? Not with a pen, with the pencil. So with the T-square, you're going to mark it at 1 inch. And then you're going to slide it down. And you're going to mark it at 1 inch. And then you're going to draw a line all the way across. Whoops, not underneath it. I wasn't holding the end down. I think I can go this way. And you have to make sure it's hooked down the end of the paper. Okay. So now we're also going to go in, let's see, we have 12, about 15, we get 16, yeah, okay. Let's go about 1 inch in here. Okay, not about, let's go 1 inch in. And let's repeat the process. And with this particular T-square, you know you've got the paper straight on the edge because the ruler itself is about 1 inch thick or 1 inch wide. So let's go with that. Oh, I figured out why I have the sniffles so bad when I film. After about 2:30 in the morning because that's when I wash my face. And I think I get water up my nose. I know there must be a trick to it. Okay, so now when we get partway through this, I'm going to have to take a break because it'll be time to post the video for today. We're going to take the 1 3/4 inch spine, which is what I figured, and put it right in the center of the seam. Then we'll put the 6 inch, I guess we won't need that. I forgot. I've started doing it this way for the small books. For the bigger books, that works. Okay, then we're going to put one of the 6 inch 6x9 sides of the book, the front, and the 6x9 back of the book. We're going to glue them like so. We're going to glue it straight, but we're going to glue it like so. When I glued these two pieces of cereal box together, I glued them shiny side to shiny side. You may have to use a little bit extra glue, but I don't. This depends on your glue. And the same thing with the spine. It's two pieces of cereal box. So let's glue this side. Well, actually, let's glue this towards the inside. So we will glue this. I should have filled my glue. I always say that. You would think I would learn by now. You want to glue this part really well. So when you open and close the book, you don't want it to pucker out, which has been known to happen. The paper to pucker out. It'll come out in a semicircle. Sort of like those spines you might be trying to create, but those are created a different way, not by bad gluing. Okay, we're going to put this in the center. We're going to put it on the 1 inch line. We're going to breathe in those Fabri-Tac fumes, and we are going to like it. When we take our break, I'll fill the glue. I want to be able to move this around, so I'm going to put those bigger blobs on the corners because we want to be able to make it straight against that. Now, I don't glue the whole thing. Oh, that's annoying. I don't glue the whole thing, but this, it might not make any difference. It won't show through on this, so we could if we wanted to. So we're going to put this less than 1/8 of an inch, but more, no, about 1/8 of an inch out. That looks about good. You want it to be straight from top to bottom. And this is going to be where your book is going to fold. So you want to make sure, however thick your cardboard is, that this spine is the same width or more, because when you fold it, the thickness of this is going to butt up against the thickness of this if you don't. And then your book won't close, which is always a bad result. I think I got water up my nose. I mean, I have allergies, don't get me wrong, so I'm kind of sniffly all the time, but I mean, I'm allergic to everything. I'm even allergic to Oz. Oh well. Poor little guy, he didn't do anything. Well, you don't want to be too far away though, because then your book will be all loosey-goosey, which I've made plenty of loosey-goosey books in my day. Don't get me wrong. You can always tie them. This one, I went with a 1 3/4 inch spine, hoping it was big enough, because the book, you know, because when you look down, you're going to have that area where it's attached, and then it's going to go, you know, gator mouth out. So, yeah. So now we're going to trim the corners. You're going to go in, and about 1/8 away from the corner, you're going to go around. I think the glue got me. And you're going to do that on all 4 corners. This one's a little bit longer. Still doable. Yeah, the ends are going to be a little longer than 1 inch, because we didn't put them all towards one end and then trim them. I feel a batch of sniffles coming on. Try not to get it too far out here, but you don't want the cardboard to show through when you fold it either. Okay, I'm going to take our glue . When it finally gets down to the end of the point there, we're going to run it along here. And we're going to go up, and we're going to go back over. Try to get close to the edge. And then we're just going to fill it in. And I forgot to do one thing first, but we can still do it. and that is to kind of give it an idea of what we're going to make it do. Okay, and you just pick it up and slide it towards you, and that will flip this up. Okay, so slide it to you and around and down, and smear the glue in. You'll still have to flip it over and touch up your gluing, but yeah. You can also use your bone folder. That will help spread the glue all the way to the end. Okay. We'll do the other long side. Let's give it the good old, this is what we're going to make you do. Push. Be careful at your seam. You can also pop your seam by doing it too much on the edges too, because it bows it out. So just be careful in general. Okay, you want to go, whoops, wait for my glue to get down there. Go like this. Oh, I guess I did make the right amount of pieces because we need some for the inside. Unless you don't want the same as your spine image to be on the spine on the inside, then you're going to have a different piece of paper, whatever it is you want. Maybe you want the whole inside to match. Maybe you're going to use cloth on the inside for some reason. Maybe you're going to use cloth all the way around. Thinner cloths, be careful of the glue showing through. Not necessarily on the flap, because you're going to be covering that on the inside, most of it, but on the front. So you're going to need to spread your glue out, and most of the time people that use cloth use white glue, like Elmer's glue, school glue, white glue, PVA glue. They're all the same thing. I have a gallon of it. It's a lot cheaper that way. Just generic PVA, 1 gallon. Was it like $8 and done, or $10 and done? And you get enough glue. I've been using the same glue for 4 years, and I'm still 2/3 of the way full, and it works fine. Doesn't get a skin or anything in that gallon jug. I'm not really sure why, but it doesn't. Pushing down firmly on the other side is almost like using a bone folder, because it presses it. And when you hear that crinkle, then you probably should press a little bit more, because it's air bubbles in there. Okay, now we're going to do the same thing on the ends. And I've made these corners a little long. Alright, so let's see here. I think it's going to be alright. Same thing as the long sides. Except they're not quite as hard to get to stick when they're longer like that. If you get too much paper overlap, you get that real pointy kind of thing, and you may have to fold the corners in, like here. I'm going to have to fold this in like so, and this one too, probably. Should have done it before. So we'll see. Let's give it a little memory test. Sort of like apple bear chair. Ugh, I hate that when I have to do those. Then they wait 20 minutes and then they ask you them again. And you would think, oh, this is so simple. You know, lots of people that can do these. But the way to do it is, you say, there's a bear and a chair holding an apple. You make a little sentence out of it. Then you will find that you can remember it. It's how card counters remember cards a lot of times. Card memorizers. They don't memorize, 3 of hearts, 4 of spades, 5 of clubs in order like that. When they recite it back, they do it differently. At least from everyone I've ever seen interviewed. Probably don't have to put that much glue on. It's probably going to gush out right there. Thank goodness for that glass surface. Nope, worked out fine. A little bit of gushing here. Okay, now you're going to want to cover this, which is where that third paper comes in. Duh. Okay, so we got 1 3/4. We want an inch on either side, so 2 3/4, 3 3/4. And you want to make it use it horizontally, because that's the way your book pages are going to be, and you want this to be the height of your book pages, and not this way and cutting it off. You don't want it to go all the way to the edge, because then your papers that you put on the inside of your book are going to be narrower and it's not going to look right. Almost forgot what I was doing. Well, wouldn't be the first time, would it? It's not my first time at the rodeo. Okay. Glue this. You want to make sure definitely that this is glued well in the center, right here, because when the book folds, when you close it, it'll arch up if you don't. Well, you just want to glue this really well in general, but I'm just saying from experience. And then I didn't do one thing. Well, other than keep the glue on the paper. Okay. Get these corners a little bit better. Then center it, and then center it from top to bottom. They could go up just a smidge. And go over it with your bone folder. Make sure that that center is stuck really well. No crinkly noises. I'm doing it that way because I don't necessarily want to just gush the glue out from the center out the sides of the top. It actually looks pretty good for printed out paper. Huh. Who'd have thunk? I may do that from now on. Versus cream or white or black. Well, not with black. Black will be black. Now you want to take, and I didn't do it here, so now it's going to be a little difficult to find. And you want to go up and down where you want the book to fold. Kind of help it out. Be careful, don't use the point of your bone folder. It'll tear your paper. I can tell you that from experience. Really didn't do that good of a job, did I? Looks like I'm using the point, but I'm not. There, that's better. If I'm bending it, just that smidge gives me a guideline. Even when I've remembered to do it on the ends, when I do this paper here, remember to crease it. It's still, I always get lost. It's like using a paper scorer for me. I can never use those. I've converted one of my paper trimmers into a scoreboard. Okay, so we're going to take a break here, and then in about a millisecond for you and about an hour for me, I'll be back and we'll do the rest of the cover. Okay? All right, I'll see you in 1 second. Okay, we're back. We've got some covers out, and we're going to do the inside covers first. Let me take my hand warmers and put them away. And besides that, I remembered the name of this. I didn't look it up. I remembered it. And this is the We Are Memory Keepers Crocodile. Aren't you proud of me? We're going to be using it too. So we're going to do the inside covers. And this is what I decided to use. This is going to be the left, and this is going to, or front. This is going to be the back. At this point, we probably should label the front cover the front and the back cover the back. I mean, this is front and back. We're going to cover these right now. But let's go ahead and label this one the front and this one the back. Label them in the center. And our spine is here. And we'll probably have to bend it to be able to see it. I didn't score it on this side because I'm a goofball. So right now it's just like a board. Alright, and we have the score lines here to see where the spine is. So to do this, now I have found that this is printed off at the regular size because our signatures are the regular size, which means the fit to page is turned off and the no borders is turned off, and so I did have to trim this out, and that makes it the same size. Gosh darn it. Forgot to take into account that this was going to be smaller. And if I print it out borderless, I'm going to lose part of the clock. Gosh, I'm going to have to do something, otherwise there's going to be a gap right here, and that's not going to look very good. Okay, let me put you on hold for just 1 second. I'm going to have to print it borderless. Okay, so this is what I did. I picked out a different picture, but a very similar one. We've got the suitcases. On this side, it's got a clock on it instead of a little gear thing. But this side, the clock is in the center, so that when we lost that little bit on the side, we didn't lose part of the clock, because this clock goes over into the border edge. This one doesn't, and the border edge is just the blue. So losing just a little bit of it didn't make any difference. We did lose a smidge of the clock at the top, but not as much as we would have lost on this one. So we're going to cut this in half at 5.5 since it's 11. And sometimes it doesn't really look like half on these Victoria Designs pictures because the center, whoopsie, brown area isn't exactly the same size, but guess what? They're not going to be together, so no one's going to know. So what we're going to do now is we're going to ink them. And for that, I'm getting my little mat back out. So that makes these a little bit bigger than our signatures, which I think is going to be fine. I would rather have the signatures a little bit smaller than the inside cover, than the inside cover being a little bit smaller than the centerpiece. Okay, so that's my logic on that. I was moving along so well. And then I forgot to trim this to the size of, well, they are going to be 8.5 when you fold them in half because the papers are 8.5 now that I think about it. Oh, try to remember to do the top first, so when I get back around to the top, I know I've gotten all the sides, but, you know, Today's not Tuesday, and I only think on Tuesdays. So, there you go. So if we'd have done it the other way, the image would have been smaller than the signature. Because remember, we used the cream colored paper and we just folded it in half without trimming it down. Now we're going to use, I think we're going to put this in the front. To go along with this. And then we're going to put this one in the back to go along with this one. And we might even cover this little guy with a pocket in the back. Okay? So to do that, to put a pocket in the back, we need one at 8.5, which I don't think well, if we just wanted it the size of the image, which we do, then we could get away with using the one that didn't work, and we would have some suitcases in the back as well, even though it's a different picture. So we could make a picture a pocket as tall as the suitcases in the back, now that I think about it. If I don't get going here, we're going to go over an hour. Which we probably will anyway. Okay, here's our spine. We want to match it top and bottom. We want to make it straight. And now we're happy because the spine is right here. I just put glue on it with my finger. Occasionally I'll cover the spine with something different, but I think we'll just leave it at that. So let's do this one. We've already inked it. In fact, let's cover the black ink before I do something bad. Now on the front covers, this is going to help us out because it's going to give us this, what am I trying to say? The width in the picture without cutting off those little sides, which are about 1/8 of an inch. So that gives us another 1/4 of an inch. So that makes it 8 3/4, and that gives us that 1/8 of an inch around instead of 1/4 of an inch on the front and the back. So we're going to line this up with the bottom of this piece. I'm going to bring it in a little bit from the spine. I'm going to put it on right here. I haven't decided about the pocket yet. I may not do it. I'm leaning towards not doing it. Usually if you're going to put a pocket, you'll do one in the front and one in the back. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, this is going to be our front cover here. Okay. So we're going to cut these in half. This is going to be the front cover. This is going to be the back cover. So we have one ocean one and one train one. So let's do the front cover. I'm going to measure it. Sure wish I could see that better. And as you can see, it goes past the center. It just doesn't look straight, does it? And that's because this is 6, not 5.5. So what we'll do is we'll cut it at the edge of the brown. Yeah, we'll cut it at the edge of the brown. Okay? And we'll double check. I really like this image. See, we lost the brown on this side when we printed full page. However, the brown on this side will match the, well, it won't, will it? Well, the blue will be on the inside, on the back. So we've got our front cover glued on to here. I'm going to ink it. Probably should not be inking it over the cover. In case there's little pieces of foam flying around. I'm going to put a gear wherever there's a gear on here. Oh, and back around to the top. Okay, so let's get some glue on here. And I think we're going to put a spine image on. Even though the cord's going to run over it, we're going to put this in with a cord and a eyelet, or 2 eyelets. One at the top and one at the bottom. My left shoulder keeps popping out. And it hurts. It doesn't look like enough glue was coming out up here. I really love this picture. Okay. See, that's too close to the spine. So we need to bring the whole thing over this way. Let's measure and cut this one for the back. And once again, feels like we're going to need it right at the edge of the blue. This could actually be a front cover in and of itself. Don't forget to ink. And you might want to ink the covers just a smidge more so they stand out a little bit more. I forgot to turn the timer off while I printed, so that was probably another 5 minutes until we're going to run into an hour. Wow. How did I do that? Oh, I'm looking at the center instead of the edge. Okay, here's the edge. Still looks a little smaller. Almost time for my bowl of cereal. Getting a little hungry. So I'll show you a few of the gears and you'll get the idea. Then I'll put the rest of them on off camera because we won't have enough time. I really don't want to run way over just for me to decide what gears go where. Plus I'm waiting on my other gears. So some of the smaller ones I won't be able to put on till later today anyway. Okay, so we'll do a few of the larger gears. The 4 corner gears. Okay. Now, if I had to choose, I guess it's not, it's about right. Make them even top and bottom. Okay. And the same back here. You know, I'm going to put gears here. Let me get my gears. Actually, let's look and see what image we're going to put on the spine. I was hoping that we could use this image. But I think it's too wide. Maybe not if we cut this part off. Let's trim a little of the back off and see how wide it is. I think it'll fit. So we'll make it almost 1 3/4 inches wide. You can see. I think it's going to be just perfect. And of course the cord's going to run right over it, but I think filling over this seam is more important. And the cord's not that wide. I'm wondering, before we put the cord on, if we should put a gear at the top, and I'm thinking we should. Almost looks crooked, like it's narrower down here. I've got my radio on really low in the background. I'm listening to Billy Joel at this moment. I'm listening to Sirius XM station 553, which is the Classic Rock Top 1000. And they don't play them in order, like, you know, down from 1000 or whatever. I just stuck my finger in the glue. I don't think there was enough on that side anyway. Alright. So we're definitely going to go over an hour. That's alright. I think that looks nice. And let's put our gear up here. And I can't put it completely at the top because we have to punch the hole. But I think one that we only have one of, like this one, I think we could put right about here. And I think we could even do this. The fact that I had glue on my finger doesn't help, does it? But I think we could do small, medium, large. Looks like we glued it down on the other side once. I'll come back with my glue eraser on it when it dries. Darn it. And these are all ones I have left over from the ones we've done so far that are singles. And remember, we probably could have used this little one on the cover, but we're getting some more in, so. Okay. All right, now let's put our elastic in. Okay, 1 3/4. You figure 1 1/2. So that's going to be 3/4, and then you have another quarter, so it's going to be 3/4 and 1/8 is going to be your center. So here's the corner edge, or the edge where the groove is. So let's put the number there. So 1 2 3/4 and 1/8 is going to be our center. Mm-hmm. Three quarters and 1/8. I'm going to line them up. I don't need a line all the way down, but I do need a line, very light line right here, and another one right here, so we know where the center is. This isn't the center of the dot. It's probably the center, but it's not the center of the dot. It looks better. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to go down about 1/4 of an inch. It looks like this is going to be right at the edge of the paper. And that's where we're going to put our hole. So we can erase the other part of that line. And we're going to come down 1/4 of an inch here, and that looks like right where I drew the dot. So we can erase the little line. Now I'm going to need to get 2 eyelets out. And I think we're going to use this color. So now let's punch the holes. We need to use the larger size. Okay. And we need to punch it right on top of our dot. And I'll tell you a little secret. I'm almost always off a little bit. I am very bad about getting them lined up exactly. That's where I put my, it's just handmade. Excuse. Now, I usually sign my signature, or sign my work with a wax seal. So I'm thinking maybe we could stop here have another video making the wax seal, putting in the eyelets and the cord, and then putting the metal on. And by that time I'll have the metal today. That one's crooked. See how much closer it is to the fold on that side than it is on this side. Boy, I really put that one in crooked. It is too late now. The holes look lined up. For once. Okay, we're going to stop the video here. When we come back, we'll do the eyelets, the cord, and the metal, and put the signature in. Okay? Alright, well that's it for this video, and I'll see you in the next video, and that will be just a second for you and a day for me. Okay, bye-bye.